Hey guys, it's Leo Stargazer. I'm here with our daily tarot reading. Today is Wednesday, August 9th, and today's intention is communicate uniqueness. Communicating uniqueness. So, the idea here is that we've done a lot of introspection. We will probably continue to do a lot of introspection. And a lot of this stuff has been about figuring out who we are, how we can use that stuff to help other people, things like that. Yesterday, though, we wanted to take a pause on all of that and just relax and cleanse. So hopefully you were able to do that successfully. Because today, I really want us to refocus, but focus on how we're going to communicate all of the unique features that we have to offer, all of the unique discoveries we have found about ourselves that make us individual. I want this spread to help us understand how we can communicate that sense of uniqueness, how we can communicate our individuality. So hopefully the spread will give us some guidance. It'll be our daily thinking, feeling, doing spread, and I will shuffle right now. Okay, so as I shuffle the deck, I am repeating the words communicate uniqueness. I'm particularly focusing on what I know about myself and my individuality, on what parts of me I feel are the most unique, and which of those parts I want to express. So I'm taking some deep breaths while I do that. I'm centering myself on my own individuality, and do that with me while I shuffle the deck for a few moments. Sorry, you'll have to edit that. So I've brought the deck from chaos back into unity, and I am ready to draw my first card. The card that I draw in the thinking position is the Tower. It's in thinking. If you've been following along with my daily readings, we had a reading fairly recently with the Tower upright in thinking. Today, though, we're talking about communicating uniqueness. So the Tower in the thinking position, for me, it shows that our thoughts today, how we are contemplating our individuality, is potentially in need of some kind of tear down and rebuilding. I think it's maybe hinting that the way we have been thinking about our individuality maybe needs some renovation. It could also be that our thinking needs to be liberated. that we're being called right now to liberate our thinking so much that maybe the kind of tropes or ideas we've been locking ourselves into need a complete readjustment. We need to be thinking about them from a totally different place. Almost as if we tear down the way we've been thinking about things through maybe some enlightenment. Maybe yesterday's relaxation gave you some enlightenment about how you've been misperceiving yourself. Or how a way that you've been approaching specifically your individuality has been maybe trapped behind a wall that you've needed to break through. So I think today it's saying, regardless of what we do about it, our thoughts will be freed today. It may be difficult to deal with. It may be a tough kind of journey today to peer behind some of those walls we've been putting up, but it's going to happen and we're going to need to deal with it. And I think that's great because we need to know who we really are in order to communicate that. I want us to communicate our truest selves. We don't want to communicate some falseness. We don't want to communicate, especially if we're self-expressing, we don't want to self-express a false sense of self. So I think here it's hinting that one way or the other, our perception of ourselves will be liberated, especially if we are to communicate that. Let's move on to feeling, though, and away from the tower a little bit, just to see how maybe this is going to impact our emotional spaces. So in the feeling position, the card that I draw is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups in the feeling position is showing me, once again, a continuation from the Tower in thinking. It's showing me that we are in an emotional state where we are recognizing that we need to continue the journey onwards and upwards. We may be, in the process we've gone through so far, especially this week, we may be in a place where we're comfortable a little bit with something we feel, with some kind of emotional stasis. We've come to some comfort with that. What the Eight of Cups in feeling, though, is showing me today, especially with the Tower in thinking, is that we are probably going to be called today to move beyond that. We're understanding that in order to really embrace our true identities, embrace our most valuable, unique traits, and to continue this journey of self-discovery, we can't just stay in the space we're in now. It's going to be required of us to move on, move up, move out, continue the journey of exploration. We aren't done figuring out who we are. We may never be, but as far as this phase of the journey goes, I think today we're going to be called to leave a sense of stasis in thoughts and feelings and move forward in the journey, move onward in the journey. Let's look at doing, though, to see how we could potentially do that, how we can make that move to leave maybe a place of stability that may not be the most true, how we can leave that to really find our individuality. Let's check it out. The card that I draw in the doing position turns out to be the Knight of Cups reversed. So the Knight of Cups reversed in doing, in this spread as it's played out so far, and with our intention of communicating uniqueness, I think is showing that we need to take action on our intuition. So the Eight of Cups in feelings was showing us our intuition is saying we need to keep going in this journey of self-reflection. The Tower in thinking was almost demanding that we free ourselves and continue onward in this journey. The Knight reversed in doing is further encouraging us to engage in an actionable way with our intuition. In particular, though, here with our imagination. So I love the imagination element because that's kind of reminding us that we need to engage with our more fantastical views of ourselves or our more fantastical goals when it comes to our journey of self-understanding. That if we can do that, not only will we be propelled forward in the direction we need to go, but we'll be able to communicate our discoveries in a more realistic, I know that sounds funny, imagination, but realism, but we'll be able to convey our discoveries of ourselves, convey and communicate our uniqueness, only if we've really truly engaged with our most fantastical ideas of ourselves. And the way we do that is further down on the journey than just comfort zones. So that's what we're being called to do. We're being called to move forward, engage in fantasy and imagination. That's kind of where we're leaving stability to enter that zone of more of the cerebral parts of ourselves, because that's where our true essence really lies. And until we find that true essence, that's what we want to communicate. Until we find that, though, we can't really express who we are truthfully. Being able to be honest with ourselves about who we are, then we can communicate our sense of uniqueness. Let's go ahead then and look to the Lenormand pair to give us some kind of literal, actionable way we can move onward and upward, liberate ourselves, engage with our imaginative and fantastical, those parts of ourselves. Let's see if the Lenormand card helps us figure out how we can go about continuing this journey and maybe potentially also communicating it. Okay, so once again, especially with the Lenormand shuffle, I like to recenter as much as I can. With some of these cards we got in this tarot spread, I really want us to come back to center first. This is all about us today. Even though it's about communicating our uniqueness, it's turning out to really be about discovering that uniqueness in order to communicate it. So let's bring ourselves back into ourselves, back into that centered state. Take some deep breaths. Repeat our intention of communicating uniqueness with a focus on uniqueness. And let's do that for a couple of moments together. So I've brought the deck from chaos into unity, and I'm ready to draw the first card in my pair. And the card that I draw first is the Man. Now, if you remember, we drew the Man yesterday as the second card in our pair. And in that case, we were called to maybe reach out to or rely on either the masculine side of us or someone in our life who is male or identifies as male or exudes masculine archetypes, to lean on them to help us figure out how to relax, how to free ourselves from focusing too much on the internal and just kind of go be at ease. Hopefully that was a success for us yesterday, because today the Man appears again. What the Man and what those masculine archetypes, how they're going to impact our day, I think the second card is going to be really important. So let's just go right to that before we think too much on the Man here. Okay, the second card that I draw is the Snake. So here we have the Man and the Snake. That combination, to me, is a warning. I think that the cards so far have been pretty clear. I think the tarot reading was pretty clear that We needed some form of liberation today, in thoughts and feelings, in order to move on to the next phase of the journey with an imbued sense of imagination and intuitive focus, combining that with an actionable element to move ourselves forward on the journey. But here we have the man and the snake. So I'm looking at this in two ways, and it'll depend on where you are in your life, and maybe who or what part of you that masculine archetype was coming from yesterday probably is at play again today here. I think 2 days in a row. It's definitely either the same person or the same part of you potentially. If that person or that part of you was really helpful on your journey yesterday, really put you at ease, really helped you relax, really helped you on your journey of self-discovery, but yesterday in order to kind of remove yourself from it a little bit and just kind of be able to relax. If they were able to do that, I think today it's saying that that same person or that same part of you might be really helpful in approaching this situation, this communicating uniqueness element, this idea of needing to liberate and move on. I think they may be offering, or that part of you may be offering, a sense of cunning, a sense of they may be revealing a new knowledge. Maybe a new knowledge about yourself that helps you feel more liberated. Maybe they're bringing a sense of kind of like a hidden truth uncovered or revealed to you. Something that they maybe this masculine person or this masculine part of you may be revealing some kind of truth that helps you break out of what you're in now and move to that next level. That may also be the imaginative, fantastical part of this whole journey too. They may be revealing to you some kind of hidden element that you need to see. That's possible. If, however, yesterday you didn't get a whole lot of relaxation from the masculine archetypes in your life or from the men in your life, then today may be hinting that there's a bit of deception in some of those elements. Maybe there is a man in your life, male presenting person, who is maybe not coming with the full truth today, who may not be approaching you with the full thrust of their honesty. It could also be that by just focusing on the masculine side of yourself, just relying on the masculine archetypes within you, that we are missing the intuitive elements, that those masculine archetypes may be potentially blocking you today from your intuition, from fantasy, from understanding and liberating yourself enough to know that you need to move forward and then doing that. If we just rely on that, there's maybe a hint today that there's some untruth there. So I think what it's calling for, to put a positive spin on that, obviously if the masculine elements helped you and that was where you are and that's leading you today, gorgeous, focus on that. If it isn't though, I want to give you an option as well. And I think today, it's saying bring that feminine energy balance. Bring your complete sense of self into vision. Unite the feminine with the masculine. Rely on both today. I think that if you're being called to unite masculine and feminine today, I think that's the best way to avoid any sense of falseness and the best way to fully liberate yourself. Maybe in your case, you're being called to unite those elements because it is essential for you to engage with both sides of yourself in order to understand the journey forward. For some of you, maybe it isn't. And the man here is saying, you move forward. Trust yourself, learn this new knowledge, liberate yourself that way, or let the masculine person in your life liberate you, or help with your liberation, more importantly. Or it's saying, let's bring feminine in here. Maybe since we saw the snake, we want to make sure that we're balancing both sides of ourselves before we make the decision to move forward. Either way though, with the Tower in this spread at all, liberation is here for you. It may not be easy. It may require someone else. It may require all sides of you. But you're being called to move forward to fully liberate yourself. I know that sounds intense, but it's really exciting. We'll need that on this journey. We need to move forward. Staying in stasis is not an option. But incorporate imagination and fantasy as well. That's where we really will find our most unique selves and be able to communicate that. I'll see you tomorrow.